Yipee-Ki-Yay, Mr. Falcon.
Bonus content.
You know how I keep finding these little patterns in 80s movies, these clusters?
Yeah. Yeah, like the cavemen.
Yeah, like the caveman movies. And I found something interesting that I didn't. Kevin Bacon, in the world of Kevin Bacon.
Oh boy.
He did 2 like whitewater rafting movies. Sort of.
I remember one of them.
Which one?
I saw The River Wild.
Oh, with Meryl Streep.
Yeah, is that one of them?
And yeah. You know who else is in
movie.
that?
John
Dewey
C.
Cox is
Reilly?
in that. Yeah, John C. Reilly. And the guy from A League of Their Own.
I almost said Michael Strahan, but I meant David Strathern.
And the kid from Jurassic Park. The boy, Tim.
He had a dumb name in that movie. You remember what it was?
I do not.
His
What
name was
it?
Rourke.
That was his first name?
Rourke.
Poor little bastard. I just remember he gets a Swiss Army knife as a present.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
I like that movie. I saw that movie
It's
a
a
bunch
good
when I was
movie.
a kid.
They remade it. I haven't seen it. I saw it on one of the streamers. It's just called River Wild, not The River Wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's one of them. And that's kind of neat because... Go ahead. He had a what?
He had another whitewater rafting movie.
Yeah, and it's way different. It was called... I saw this when I was younger, and I had deep memories of it that I didn't realize until I watched it again as an adult. It was called Whitewater Summer from 1987.
Okay.
All right. Now, other than Kevin Bacon, we also have Sean Astin in this film.
Samwise Gamgee?
Samwise himself. Very young Samwise, like tween Samwise.
Like Encino Man or Goonies?
Younger. Yeah, like between, actually. Between Goonies and Encino Man.
Okay.
So, where do I start? Kevin Bacon is like an adventure therapist for nerds, basically.
Okay.
The movie actually begins with him sauntering into, I believe it's New York City, with a huge rucksack and fucking helmet hanging off of it for all the white watering and all kinds of shit. And he just comes strolling into New York City like that and starts meeting with like these rich people about taking their dysfunctional children out into the wilderness and getting them away from whatever they're obsessed with. And so it strikes a weird tone because the very, very beginning of the movie opens with Sean Astin sitting in a tree in like a day glow shirt
In
and
New
like
York?
high tops. I don't know where the fuck he is, but he's got like gelled up hair and he's talking all about like his sexual awakening and shit and how like this was when he wanted to be a horny teenager, but instead his parents want to send him off into the woods with a bunch of dudes. And then we meet him in like present day because obviously he's talking about something that's already happened. And he's just like this nerd with glasses and he has no sexual awakening, none at all. And that's the setup, is that all these, in one way or another, dysfunctional rich people's kids who are pretty sheltered and have never been in the woods before go off with Kevin Bacon into the wilderness for some absurd amount of time. They're like going to be living in the woods for like a month and a half on the like hiking a chunk of the Appalachian Trail, sort of, but I don't think that's what it is. And they have to canoe parts of it. And it just gets progressively more and more insane to the point where Kevin Bacon is like almost trying to kill some of the children, especially Sean Astin, who he hates, because he keeps defying him.
Just like pushing them beyond their boundaries or whatever.
Yeah, and he makes them like swim out to this island in the middle of the river, and like he stays there because he's a dick, and then he leaves them there, and then I don't know, there's all these like tests he puts them through, and they're kind of cruel and mean and abusive, and it just like gets progressively worse and worse, and it's almost like there's at one point where you're like you're waiting for the kids to start having the conversation about killing him, in the woods. Like he's getting to be that much of a dick, and he's great too. Like because when Kevin Bacon wants to be an asshole, he does really good at being an asshole.
He can turn that on.
Yeah, and he had that real Weasley face back then when he was young, and that fucking blonde ass hair, and it's all long and shit because it's from that era, like Flatliners.
Oh yeah.
So wait, the best. This is so 80s, man. At one point, Kevin Bacon falls off a cliff and breaks his leg.
Oh no!
And the reason I remembered this movie was because it was the first time I had ever seen someone's leg get broken in a movie and the bones stick out.
Ooh, one of those.
And it never occurred to me that could happen as a kid until I saw that, and it was
Scarred
like,
you, didn't it?
That's a thing that can happen to you. Holy shit! All right, gotta think about that now.
I have a similar one. I saw that for the first time as a kid in a movie that I never forgot.
What?
Bloodsport.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, Chong Li
Sure.
pops that guy's shin bone. It looks horrible.
Yeah.
It doesn't look good at all, but I was young enough to be like, ooh, those come out?
Well, this was particularly rough because he like, he falls and shit, and then he like sits up and looks at his leg, and you see some blood on his jeans, and then he like rips his pant leg open, and you see it just like sticking out, and he goes like, "Oh my god!" And you're like, "Fuh."
So what do they do? They leave him there?
There's debate, but ultimately Sean Astin's character shines through, and he musters the nerds, and they build a litter, and I believe they get his ass into a fucking canoe and put him down the river, and he's in so much fucking pain the whole time.
They have to
Because
paddle
every
him out of there?
fucking bump, but like they splint the leg up and shit, but they don't have any painkillers or anything. And every fucking bump, he's like in agony, and they have to go through rapids on the canoe. I think they have two canoes, and they like have him all trussed up in one of them. Yeah, and they eventually get him back and save his ass.
Does he
Kid saved the day.
Does he have like respect for them finally, or is he still a dick after they save him?
I think he says something that's supposed to be redeeming. Like he's pretty grateful. He's pretty grateful to not be dead. Yeah, it's a happy-ish ending.
How did you stumble on this?
I don't know. Like I said, I saw it when I was a kid.
But
At some point,
You mentioned this earlier. You're like, you keep stumbling.
you want to know why?
Onto these
You don't want to
veins
know
of
why?
movies.
There's a reason for this one. I found this because I was writing an article for work about movies about rafting and like being on the river, and whitewater and stuff like that. And in that, I came upon these two Kevin Bacon films and was astonished that there were two. And then, yeah, that's how it happened. That's how it happened. And then I watched Deliverance again.
Oh yeah. Oh, because you had to complete the trifecta. You needed a third Rapids movie.
But it's definitely one of those 80s, like, kids can do it movies.
Kids can do it.
And, like, kids know better than the adults because the adults are fucking damaged and the kids aren't damaged yet. And they're pure, so they get it. They're right about stuff and morals. They have morals.
Yeah, you got the morals,
I don't know what happened to all these kids that were teenagers in the early 80s. I think they turned into cunts, but...
they had their sexual awakening.
This is what happened, yeah, and they did some weird shit in a canoe. That's Deliverance.
What did you What did you enjoy more, that or the River Wild?
River Wild is quite a bit better of a movie.
I know.
Overall.
I think it would have to be, but which did you enjoy more?
I don't know, man. Whitewater Summer is pretty fucking funny.
Oh man, I'll have to try to find this.
That's right. His name is Vic. Kevin Bacon's name is Vic.
And so Kevin Bacon, asshole, wilderness instructor, punishes boys for no reason, breaks leg, gets saved by boys.
Like, it starts off that he's doing it, you believe he's doing it to build character, you know, and to teach things like self-reliance and, like, you know, shit like that. It's like back in the day when parents would leave a kid somewhere and be like, find your own way home. And
that'll be good for them.
They'd either get, you know, picked up, raped, and killed, or they'd find their way home.
Oh, boy.
You know, it was like that. But then it just gets a little too dark. Just a little too dark. There's some fucking hilarious climbing scenes, too. He makes them, yeah, dude, he makes them do all kinds of shit. These are, like, city kids. Right? And it's not like he just makes them live in the wilderness. Like, they have to hike, they have to fucking canoe, they have to carry the fucking canoes, they have to actually rock climb. That's what the helmets are for, because they have to, like, go rock climbing at one point. And it's not easy shit either. Like, it's some scary shit.
I've done some rock climbing.
Yeah, I know.
I love rock climbing. It is scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it.
If you don't know what you're doing, it's terrifying. Hell, sometimes it's terrifying if you do know what you're doing.
I watched Free Solo. I don't even want to see that shit in real life. I don't want to watch someone do it. I hate heights. I don't like heights.
Oh man, I love heights.
No, I wasn't built to. I don't mind planes. That doesn't do anything for me. And I've been on roller coasters, but there's something about heights where the only thing between me and death is like the stability of my legs. I don't trust them. I don't trust me or my body. So
there's that French term. What is it translates to like the pole of the void. You ever hear that phrase?
I have not. I've seen the movie Touching the Void.
Imagine being on a tall building or on a cliff and like people like look over and there's this impulse to kind of lean forward, and you feel like you're almost, you feel compelled, like, what if I jumped, you know, or what if I fell over? Yeah, there's a term for it. I just don't. It's escaping me at the moment. It's a real thing, though.
It's true. And man-made heights bother me. Sheer man-made heights bother me a lot.
I like them. I find it fascinating. I went to the Cliffs of Moher in Ireland one time, and my loving wife was just looking out for me. She didn't want me to get hurt and fall over the side, because people do fall off the cliffs in Ireland. But she's like, "You're too close to the edge." She's screaming at me, but she's like 40 feet away, 50 feet away, and can't tell that I'm 20 feet from the edge. I'm like, "Are you insane?" She's like, "You're gonna die." It was a little stressful, but yeah, I get it. I get it. Height, they're terrifying for some. I love them.
It was out of love. Again, if I'm in a vehicle or something, I'm pretty okay with it, you know? It's just when I have to trust my own ability to not die.
Your own knees.
Yeah, my own knees and fucked up knees and ankles and shit. I don't like ladders. I used to go up in a bucket truck, though. That didn't really bother me.
How did that not bother you? And all the other stuff.
I don't know. It's pretty high. You can lean on it. Like,
yeah,
it's really tight. And you're in a harness. Like, it's really hard to fall out of one of those fucking things. I wouldn't reach very far, though, out of it. I'll tell you that.
I've been scared of heights exactly one time in my life. You ever drive a scissor lift?
No.
I have. I've driven a scissor lift many times, and only once did I take it all the way up to like the tallest height it could go. I was doing something at work, and I had to get all the way into the rafters. And my God, when you get that thing all the way up, you make the slightest like step to one side, and the whole thing starts to sway. And it's like, whoa, this is how I die. I just tip over a scissor jack, and fall to my death at work.
When I was younger, I did something really stupid. I was a police reporter for a little while for the Trenton Times, and I went to cover a fire. There was a big junkyard fire.
Tire fire?
No, kind of. It was, you know how a peat moss pile can catch on fire just from the pressure that builds up inside of it? Mm-hmm. The same thing happens with the interiors of cars, because when they destroy a car, they actually rip the interior out first and shred it, because it has to be treated in a different way than the mechanical parts and the steel and everything, at least in Jersey anyway. So there was this giant mountain of shredded up car interiors, and it caught on fire.
Oh, no.
Like a peat moss fire. Yeah. And a huge billowing clouds of probably toxic smoke.
It's all
so I
vinyl.
drive toward it and park, and it's next to a junkyard with all old rusted out machinery. So and everything was open. So I ran in there, and I had the camera from work, and I climbed up on the boom of this crane, this old decrepit rusting cat crane.
Damn.
In this junkyard next to it. I climbed, I don't know how many feet up, but high enough to get like a cool vantage point of this mountain of shit burning, and this pillar of smoke coming up. And I took a whole bunch of photos. It was like a big clunky digital camera, one of the early Canons, I think, when they were still silver. And it had a good lens on it, though. I took a bunch of photos, right? I got them back. I put them on the laptop. They look great and everything. And I wrote up, I don't know, it wasn't that much. It wasn't that much. This was like 6 inches. And they ran it. I think they ran it on page like 6. With the photo was one column wide in black and white. And you could barely, you could barely tell what the fucking thing was.
You risked your life for this stunning photo of a dumpster fire. And
a giant dumpster fire.
A little black and white photo on page 6.
At least I didn't almost fall. Yeah, I didn't almost fall. I got the shot, and I didn't break the camera. So
that sounds like
considered it a win. Probably it was stupid, though. But I liked going places that you weren't supposed to go with a press pass. That was part of the whole allure.
that does sound like it would be a cool feeling. I'm press. Let me through.
Right? Yeah. Doesn't really work that way, but most of the time it was neat. And the parking pass was the best. You got this placard. It was like a laminated placard you throw up on your dashboard, and you could park in handicap spots. You can park in parking spots that weren't parking spots, and not get ticketed or towed because you counted as like you were there for official business. Yeah, and sometimes like if you had to park near a crime scene or near an active fire or something, it would make sure they didn't tow your vehicle away.
Did you use it at the grocery store?
I used it when we went to Princeton, I'll tell you that for sure. Fucking parking in that place in the summer is a fucking nightmare, man. Yeah, exactly. I think I parked in like a CVS that was like customers only and just put the fucking parking pass up. I never once got a ticket with it. Never.
That's awesome.
Never. Yeah. Yeah, it was like a superpower.
That was your superpower.
Yeah.
Power parking.
In exchange for extremely low salary and horrifyingly terrible hours. And stress, lots of stress.
The main perk.
He got a parking plaque.